Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Welcome to Rage Against the Mainstream, your full spectrum source for all things music, insight, and opinion. My name is Bill, and I'm joined with Connor and Steve.
Yo.
Today is May 5th, 2019. If you're listening to this, thank you for subscribing to us. We really appreciate the support. We're going to keep this thing going. So, have you guys encountered anything new or interesting this week?
I got the Denzel Curry kick going on for me right now. I've been jamming to his Bulls on Parade cover and his new song, Black Balloons, first single off his new album, Taboo. Yeah, you were showing me that. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it actually really is.
I never thought, like, hearing one song could turn me into, like, a fan.
Yeah. When I heard him through the Bulls on Parade cover, and then I stumbled upon that song, because it was, like, just coming out when I heard it, and I was like, holy shit, this is good as hell.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you were saying, you guys were saying it sounded like more like 90s hip hop than more recent stuff.
It sounded like a throwback
on his verses and actually being able to hear like his lyrical content, because that was always a big thing about like 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
Even early 2000s hip hop.
Yeah, but even the grooves and stuff, it was like very like throwback feel.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. What you got for us, Bill?
I just recently saw Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Especially with Endgame coming out. It was a smart move.
Yeah, very, very smart move. Mm-hmm. Out of the Marvel movies, I can't say that it was the best one.
Yeah,
it was definitely in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it was just a good way to tie in, this huge character into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we're not going to spoil it for anybody because it's still a fairly new movie. Mm-hmm. But if you haven't got into any Marvel movies, this would be the one to watch. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of action. It's just an all-around good movie. All right, well, what do you got for us, man?
So, in the site of music, I recently discovered a black metal band in Norway. The band is Dark Throne. They are releasing a new album. It actually comes out May 31st. The name of the album is Old Star. They just released a song off of it. It's called The Hardship of the Scots. You guys aren't really like black metal guys, but this is actually a sound like Dark Throne and, Mayhem. All those earlier bands had kind of the same traditional black metal sound. This band is more of like a doom metal, stoner metal, slower, grungier vibe to their metal sound.
I like yellow metal.
I can't say
That's typically what somebody would say about who doesn't listen to black metal. I listen to purple metal and yellow metal and green metal,
I can't call myself a fan of Dark Throne because I don't know any of their songs by name or anything, but from what I have heard from Dark Throne, I am a fan.
Yeah, it's actually very good. I mean, a lot of black metal, you really get into it for the ambience and like the sound quality. It's just a total different sound than that pure production you typically see.
On this day in music history.
On this day in music history, May 5th, 1900, the Billboard, which was later just called Billboard, began their weekly publication instead of monthly publications after 6 years. It's kind of crazy that it's been backdated that far to 1900.
Yeah.
Who even thought people listened to music back then?
Yeah, right.
Enough to actually be, ranked. In 1968, Buffalo Springfield performed their final concert in Long Beach. It was after various drug-related arrests and lineup changes. The group broke up. Stephen Stills went on to form the supergroup Crosby, Stills, and Nash with David Crosby of the Byrds and Graham Nash of the Hollies. Neil Young launched his solo career and later joined Stills in Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young in 1969. Richie Furay, along with Jim Messina, went on to form the country rock band Poco.
Yeah, definitely take CSNY over Poco.
Yeah?
Yeah.
1 year later, in 1969, Stevie Wonder met with President Nixon at the White House. Here we go. There's another one. Meeting the president. And just so happens to be Nixon again.
He was promoting his 11th album at 19 at that time, My Sherry Amour. Featuring
Wow.
a cover of The Doors' "Light My Fire."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
19 years old, man.
That's fire.
11 albums.
He had already had 16 top 40 hits,
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
including one number one.
Could you imagine being, like 7, 8 years younger than us and releasing 11 albums and then meeting the fucking president? Like, we are so far off of that.
Honestly, if I had 16 top 40 hits at 19, I better be meeting the damn president.
Hell yeah, dude.
He probably should have been meeting the president when he was like fucking 13 with like 10 hits or whatever.
17 years later, it was announced that Cleveland, Ohio had been chosen as a city where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame would have been built, or would be built. The other considerations were Philadelphia, Memphis, New York City, Detroit, and Cincinnati.
Damn, man.
They really dodged a bullet with Detroit.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame had been doing inductions since '86, but just didn't have like a facility or a home or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even though it was announced in '86, the groundbreaking ceremony didn't take place until June 7th of '93.
Oh, wow. Wow, so they just announced it, and then that was obviously how long construction and everything took for it to finally...
Well, no, groundbreaking is,
Just a start.
Yeah, just the start. It was
Yeah.
finished.
Oh, yeah.
It was finished 2 years later, September 1st of '95. The ribbon was being cut by an ensemble that included Yoko Ono,
Yeah.
Little Richard, among others, before a crowd of 10,000 plus people.
Damn.
The following night, an all-star concert was held at the stadium. It featured Chuck Berry, Bob Dylan, Al Green, Jerry Lee Lewis, Aretha Franklin, Bruce Springsteen, Iggy Pop, John Fogerty, John Mellencamp, and many others. Talk about a dream festival.
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
You know how cool that would have been to see that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's even thinking consideration-wise, just because of where we live. Dude, if that place had been in New York, even... But Philly?
The Nirvana Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction was in New York.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it was.
That's
It was
what
at
they
the
Where they do it in
performed,
Madison
right?
Square Garden?
It was at the Barclays Center
That's what they
where
performed.
the Nets play.
Yeah,
Okay.
they performed, right? Who was on vocals?
Yeah, that might be why.
Wasn't that Paul McCartney?
They had they had all girls. They had Lord,
Joan
they
Jett.
had
Joan Jett was the one that...
Yeah.
Saint Vincent, and
But that was cool. Yeah.
In 1995, Steven Adler was arraigned on a felony count of possession of heroin, as well as 2 misdemeanor drug charges.
big surprise. We got a Guns
Fucking
N' Roses
Steven
dude
Adler.
getting arrested for heroin.
Well, Steven Adler had been out of the band at that time for 5 years, I
Yeah.
think. He was already
Even
replacing
bigger
Matt Sorum.
surprise. Ex Guns N' Roses member arrested
right.
for heroin
Oh,
possession.
wow. You know what I mean?
It was very soon after that, though, that he wound up getting a stroke. And he's still kind of fucked up from that to
Yeah.
this day.
That's
I mean,
a truly surprising headline.
4 years later, in 1999, Garth Brooks was named Artist of the Decade at the 34th Annual Academy of Country Music Awards.
Friends in low places, my ass.
Not so low at that point in time. I don't know how you guys feel about Garth
I was just
Brooks,
gonna
but
say this.
I
I
really
mean-
enjoy his music.
So,
I'm not a fan of Garth
genre
Brooks.
wise, dude, like you talk about like Zakk Wylde a lot, Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, you do enjoy like the country aspect and stuff.
Yeah.
And Garth Brooks, I can understand he was a huge figure.
Insanely huge
Like,
figure.
But here's the thing. I can get down with classical. I can get down with like 90s earlier hip hop. I can get down with like conscious modern hip hop. I can get down with black metal, death metal, like whatever. You know, the country scene just doesn't do it for me. And I never once can disregard a genre or an artist just on popular vote. Like I won't hate Nickelback just because everyone hates fucking Nickelback. I won't not like country because it's like nobody likes country, and if you like country, you're like weird type.
Then
shit.
you're me.
Yeah, I
Does
mean,
anybody like Lyle Lovett? Anybody ever heard Lyle Lovett?
I've heard the name.
He's like the latest country dude I could get down with.
Yeah.
He's like 80s, yeah.
Here's my thing with country music. At some point in the early 2000s, there was a shift in country music where it wasn't country anymore. and it
Largely
was,
inspired by Garth Brooks, I feel like.
no, it was largely inspired by Shania Twain,
well,
where it like turned like a direction
Wasn't
for
she,
pop.
like-
pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't she like affiliated with Garth Brooks somehow?
No,
Didn't they have like the same producer or something?
Mutt Lang? No.
No, he didn't do Garth Brooks shit? Okay,
Mm-mm.
well.
Yeah, but you don't also equate the idea of like Garth Brooks kind of being like the Van Halen to open up the doors for like the the hair metal scene.
Well-
like Garth Brooks kind of opened up that wave of like because it's
Super commercial country.
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember too. There was a lot of other big names at the time, like Tim McGraw, Alan Jackson. Like they were all very, very heavy
Not
hitters.
as big as Garth.
Definitely not as big as Garth.
Yeah, dude. On
But
paper,
That's like saying Pearl Jam versus fucking Seven Mary 3 and fucking Sponge.
I
Like,
become cumbersome. No, I get it, but I just see there's a definitive line with country music in the early 2000s to where it took a turn to more of a pop direction, and I feel like that's where a lot of the distaste for country music comes from, because they associate it with all these stupid drunk kids and their big ass lifted trucks and their fake work boots and their flannels and their cowboy hats and all that other bullshit, and they think that they're country, but they're not.
Yeah.
I feel like, before that point in time, country music was actually listenable, and you're not going to listen to some Florida Georgia Line or who's another one, Blake Shelton.
Well, it's just funny because you talk about the image. I mean, that's essentially everything with like the rock and roll world, the metal world, especially because like you see people nowadays, just wearing things as a fashion statement as opposed to like the idea that certain music genres are like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And like the country scene, a lot of people, especially prior to that time, like were real country fans. And then you're talking about the progression of the music of what it created to be like an image in itself. Like XTU, bro. How many fucking people just go to that for
just to go
to get drunk and look at chicks in short skirts and, dudes with their shirts off?
See, it's kind of funny because around this time period, 98 through 2000 or whatever, my father worked for American Airlines in Philadelphia. He was a luggage handler. Right. And on the 4th of July, he had to work a commuter jet that was leaving from Philadelphia. And who walks out on the tarmac other than Garth Brooks?
Oh, shit.
My dad told me that Garth Brooks was probably the nicest guy he's ever met.
I don't doubt that at all.
He came out in normal people clothes. He wanted to know everyone's name. He wanted to talk to them.
That's cool.
Stood for a couple pictures. If the story holds true, he actually sang a song to my mom over the phone on the tarmac at Philadelphia International Airport.
Yeah, I could see Garth Brooks being that dude that in like the 80s, 90s was like, "Hello, airport worker friend. Would you like a free $600 brand new compact display to play my music on?"
Yeah, because that's the only way you're going to be able to listen
Garth
to my music.
Brooks.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I don't disagree. Obviously in that scene, I'll never like go out and hate on country. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, it's not everyone's bag. Thing. I get it.
But again, when you do see the people that really get hyped about it, especially with that song "Old Town Road" that just came out, it's like bringing out all these country fans that are either upset or like loving the cross between these two things. And even like with Nelly and Tim McGraw when they did their thing like back,
way
years
back
ago. And it's cool, but again, it's just like the image.
Music news.
Kanye West has a new church. The 41-year-old rapper is hosting what he calls Sunday services. They're exclusive musical worship gatherings for the rich and famous, attended by anyone from Katy Perry and Diplo to Tyler, the Creator. Gia Tolentino from The New Yorker has said he is the church. He is the text of the sermon. It's his songs. He is the worship. He is creating a church in himself and selling it, really.
He had exclusive merchandise for crazy prices. $50 for a pair of socks. All the way to a $225 sweatshirt the words Sunday Service Mountain across it.
$225 isn't that exorbitant for a hoodie if it's from Kanye West himself.
Yeah, but it's probably made on like a Fruit of the Loom fabric, and it's just a print on it. You know what I mean? That's how they get
it definitely doesn't feel like $225.
What's a better deal, $50 for tube socks or $225 for a...
Do you wear tube socks?
I mean, they go up to like my ankle. Is that a tube sock? Like,
I don't even know.
Yeah, I wear tube socks.
I mean,
I don't wear the ones that...
I wear tube socks for work.
So could you
I don't
walk
wear
around
socks that stop under my ankle.
Like, yo, I got these tube socks from Coachella. They're Kanye West.
Well, they're for people who wear shorts and Nikes and that's all tube socks to look stylish.
No, they wear their Adidas. They're Kanye West Yeezy Adidas.
Oh, right. Adidas, whatever. Yeah. The Prince estate has announced plans to release another album of previously unreleased tracks recorded between 1981 and 1991. The album, titled Originals, will be available June 7th exclusively on Tidal, with physical copies, downloads, and wider streaming services following on June 21st.
That's awesome.
Just when you thought he was done.
I know. That's awesome.
That's insane.
What's
Well,
that? The hologram?
When he died, I heard there was something crazy, like 30 hours of unreleased music or
Just
something like that.
recorded music. Yeah, that's awesome. Because I do like when they do this with artists where they release. I mean, I don't really treat it as like listening to an album. It's more so like listening to the opportunity to hear stuff you never heard before. I don't like a lot of people will even tell you like they do that kind of for the money aspect. Like they're releasing songs just to get people interested and keep the artist relevant. But at the same time, I just love the opportunity to hear songs and things, even just like B-rated recordings, just underground.
Yeah.
Like when Nirvana did the whole, with the lights out compilation thing, and you got to hear so many raw recordings of original songs, and it's just like the early versions of it. I love that.
Best-selling box set of all time.
Amazing. Yeah. There's so many good things on there, dude, and I'm excited for that.
This does have the demo of Nothing Compares to You, which will probably be a good listen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spotify removes Blood on the Dance Floor's music for prohibited content. Spotify removed every song by the electronic group Blood on the Dance Floor over the weekend. The company confirmed to Billboard and Pitchfork. They confirmed that the band's songs were removed because of their content and not because of sexual abuse allegations against Jesus David Torres.
I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
It's annoying because Blood on the Dance Floor, never heard of them.
Yeah, now
We
they're
talk
all
about
over the
them-
place.
We talk about them, the first week of doing this, and all of a sudden, dude, it's like the algorithm thing. I go on my Facebook, I see links to
Yeah.
Blood on the Dance Floor all of a sudden. Like,
Facebook.
that shit bothers me, dude. I've never talked about this band, never heard of them, never saw a link for them. Now I see it fucking everywhere.
Facebook knows that we exist.
Dude, yeah, it's like there's memes when you like talk about something or even think about something, all of a sudden you're getting advertisements for it and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
What's his face? Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
Britney Spears released from a mental health facility.
Ooh.
Britney reportedly returned to her Los Angeles home after completing her stay at the health treatment facility. She decided to seek professional treatment earlier this month after reportedly struggling to deal with the stress of her father's recent health crisis. Sources claim the pop superstar voluntarily signed up for a 30-day stay at a wellness clinic, but rumors suggesting the 37-year-old was being held there against her will recently emerged, prompting some devotees to stage a Free Britney protest in LA on Monday.
Free Britney.
So, yeah, that seems like a crock of shit.
Yeah, it says also too she has been on medication since her highly publicized breakdown over a decade ago. Obviously, a lot of people remember that when she shaved her head and was having a complete meltdown.
Yep.
Jamie Lynn said that it wasn't against her will. Britney herself shot down the allegations on Tuesday in a video message she shared with fans via Instagram.
It's a shame. It's like you get these artists because even after she had that breakdown like over a decade ago, then she came back and tried to get back on the scene and be relevant. You even have like bands.
She
like,
had hits after her.
That's what I'm saying. Like you get these artists that try to stay relevant in the modern music scene, and then obviously you leave out like the personal views of it of what they're currently struggling with. But even like look at like NSYNC trying to do reunion tours and things like that.
No. That's not NSYNC. Hold on.
Backstreet Boys.
It's the Backstreet Boys.
Who cares?
Listen,
I'm not going.
One of my guilty pleasures is boy bands.
Jesus.
Oh my dude,
Christ, dude.
I said it since
What
the
is
beginning of this
going on,
podcast.
dude?
I'm the minority here.
This is unreal.
I'm the guy that likes butt rock. I'm the guy that'll stand up for Nickelback
Love
or Creed.
Sammy Hagar.
I like Sammy Hagar,
Oh,
and I particularly like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Backstreet Boys more than NSYNC. You have to think of it beyond. You have to think of it beyond the whole image of a boy band. Individually, they're all incredible vocalists. You at least have to admit that.
Yeah.
They're very
Do you
good
listen to
vocalists.
opera?
No.
I would venture to guess that you'd probably find some better vocalists there if you're interested.
Yeah. So obviously, again, as like with the relevance of like artists trying to stay like in the spotlight and kind of recreate the image and be there. I mean, you have artists right that go through stages where they're able to evolve and stay kind of true to their art. Then you have artists as well that kind of just like conform into this pop culture, adapt their sound to what's popular to know that it's going to sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you have several artists out there who are able to do this, and some of them are still around today. that were able to evolve to kind of stay relevant, but didn't really lose touch of their music. Like we even talk about Metallica. Like Metallica kind of did a 180 with the Black Album and kind of progressed that way. Then they released Hardwired recently, and they're trying to come back to that like sound that they had created in the 80s, and it's just not working for them. But at least
I feel like it's a lackluster
it
attempt.
really is, dude. It's just let's keep making money here.
Death Magnetic is at my local record store for $4.99. Is that a worthwhile venture?
I personally don't think so.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
There's a
I'll
couple
leave it out
tracks
in my
on there
collection.
just for the quality of the instrumentals. I mean, it's a step up, obviously, since it was the next album after Saint Anger. I would give it a listen just to be able to understand like the progression of where they're headed to continue, because they just released Hardwired. 2017,
18,
18 was it? Because
What about Lulu?
No, it was 2017.
Was it
I think.
17?
I think it was 17.
Okay.
But
What about Lulu?
Yeah.
Dude. But either way, like I'm saying, I mean, and then you talk about the idea of like a sellout artist, kind of artist that de-evolved, and then you got the artists that kind of evolved in their sense of musicianship.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, I want to hear from you guys as well. Like, I mean, pick two artists. One that you can say that stayed true to who they are, but they evolved in their sound. They obviously adapted with the times, but they didn't lose touch with who they were and what they were producing as as a band or an artist. And then also mention another artist that you can say that at one point was, on the top of their game, but then with the change in direction of the way music is today, totally sold out for pretty much, market value, you could say.
What do you think, Connor?
I'll take Nirvana for evolving, staying relevant, not selling out, and then I'll take Hole, Courtney Love's band, for selling out.
Yeah, 'cause
No,
that's
well-
totally parallel to as
Yeah.
well. 'Cause what do you feel about that? Like, what was the album?
Live
It
Through
was a
This.
celebrity. What was the
Live Through This.
Live Through This that came out? What? How?
A month or whatever after he
his
died.
death,
Yeah.
Do you think that was obviously for record sales the way that was released? Just the
I mean, it
relevance
was
of
supposed to
her?
be called that before he died, and there's on asking for it. There's the lyric "Live Through This."
Yeah.
But I mean, if she knew he was going to die,
Yeah, that's
if you want to get into that,
Yeah,
then
that's
it could have been planned.
That's
But
gonna be like a fucking.
Well, in a perfect world, we would love to believe that Kurt Cobain was not suicidal and it was Courtney Love, in which case this would be the ultimate form of selling out for her.
Yeah. So I mean,
but like Nirvana, like they started off as like down and dirty, like local band on Bleach, and they went up to the big leagues with Nevermind, but they were, I don't think anybody who bought like there was some people. Kurt Cobain felt a certain way about maybe Nevermind. They sold out, but I mean, I don't think anybody who bought Bleach bought Nevermind and was like, "Fuck Nirvana."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, they always stayed true to their image. Like,
Yeah.
if you would have saw Nirvana, in like 1989, 1990, then you saw them on the Nevermind tour. They were the same band.
Yeah.
It was just on a bigger stage.
And then even if they did sell out a little bit on Nevermind, in Utero and Incesticide, they totally backtracked on
Well, what's
100%
interesting
is,
less
dude,
mainstream.
it's almost like with Nevermind coming out, there wasn't even a fan base to sell out to. Like, there wasn't already a steady level of pop culture for Nirvana to release Nevermind on the basis of, like, what it was going to do for the radio and music fans. They released that album, and Nirvana, like, I mean, obviously Kurt Cobain came out and was, like, not disgusted, but he was upset about the way it was perceived of being such a huge, influence on music. And that's the cool thing about In Utero, because I love In Utero.
Yeah.
In Utero is like my personal favorite when we
Same.
go back and talk about personals and best. Like Nirvana, like Nevermind's their best album. I'm going to show it to people if I'm going to try to get them into
Yeah, if you want to get someone into Nirvana, you show them Nevermind.
You know,
and
but
if they
Bleach-
like Nevermind, then you give them In Utero.
Yeah, I love Bleach, and then In Utero is because there's so many songs on it that are almost just like a fuck you to like popular music. Milk It.
Well,
Radio
they had a
Milk
big
It.
squabble with they went to such lengths to not sell out on In Utero and make,
know.
as Kurt Cobain called, what could have been a Nevermind 2, that the record label and them were battling to put it out.
Yeah.
The Steve Albini was the producer or engineer, as he likes to be called, and there was controversy around All Apologies, Penny Royalty, and Heart Shaped Box. Like
Also
the
Randy.
record label wanted them remixed
Well, what about Rape Me?
Well, Rape Me was its own controversy because of the lyrics.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a single. Like, I mean, it was supposed to, like...
Well, it was a single. It was
Yeah,
a double A side with, All Apologies. But
What was the lyric they changed it to on the radio?
they didn't change on the radio, but on the Kmart and Walmart versions of In Utero, it said "Waif Me" on the back instead of "Rape Me," and the collage on the back with the fetuses and the dolls is like blurred to basically just being like
Jesus
it looks
Christ,
like
dude.
mosaics or something,
The only way I feel like anyone
or
could
Adobe,
say,
not mosaics.
yeah, the only way I feel like anyone could say that Nirvana had sold out would be if In Utero came out first.
Yeah.
Then never
That's
mind.
what I'm saying. Like, never. There was no market to sell
exactly.
out to. Like, Nirvana just came out with Bleach. Nobody even fucking knew it. I mean, how many fans out there listen to Smells Like Teen Spirit and had no idea this band already had an LP released prior to that?
Exactly.
Most of them in '91.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, you're talking about after that Christmas season when Nevermind blew up because it Smells Like Teen Spirit. That wasn't even supposed to be the single. Lithium was.
Yeah,
And that's what's crazy. That song...
"Smells Like Teen Spirit" got written in like March or April of '91. They already had the DGC deal, and "Come As You Are" I think came after that. Like "Come As You Are" was like April or May or June or something. They wrote that. So like when they got signed in like late '90, early '91, they showed the label like Lithium and In Bloom, and yeah, those two songs. I was like, we have songs that could probably get played on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
And then
They were
they
right.
came with they made more.
Yeah. I mean,
Nirvana
that
were practicing
whole-
like 12 hours a day.
Yeah, that whole album
5 days a
is
week.
just singles.
well,
Yeah,
Like,
honestly,
could've been, yeah.
literally.
what I feel like what made Nirvana so popular for the radio is the fact you're able to follow their music. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like something you have to sit down and have like a long, Pythian discussion with yourself to understand the fucking song.
Yeah.
It's just there.
And it
Yeah.
appealed to a
It's-
culture.
Exactly. And it's easy, you hear it, the way I always say it is a band is doing their job if you can sit there and hum it back to yourself after hearing it once.
Yep.
You could do that with every song that
Yep.
Nirvana has put out.
Yep.
His whole thing was he just wanted to write songs he would like.
Exactly.
And he kept doing that.
And it even goes back to like the whole like the songs were like simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guitar parts were intricate, but the songwriting itself
Songwriting,
simple.
the guitar parts are like tricky.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they're
they're
simple
simple.
enough.
They're
though. It's the
simple.
same thing with like
Yeah.
Metallica, like playing
Yeah.
guitar, like you can play Metallica songs. I mean, they're very simple, but it's just the structure of the songs itself. I mean, when you write that, chorus, verse type,
Mhm.
rip, and you get it to a catchy atmosphere where people are able to like catch on to, like you said, with the humming aspect of it.
Exactly.
But again, it's just with the sellout thing, you couldn't even say Nirvana was doing that because you think of other bands that were evolving in a sense and then releasing albums based on the change of pace of way music was going.
Yeah.
There was no market already established. Like 10 had already came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 10
And it
was
wasn't
already
doing that well.
and it
Facelift
wasn't
was
like
already
it
out.
didn't create an image.
Bad
and then Nirvana
Motorfinger was out.
Yeah, Sonic Youth was already producing stuff like what
Yeah.
Goo. They were trying to relate. Like Kurt Cobain just wanted to sell as much as Goo.
Yeah.
And there wasn't
Which
really
had sold like 250,000 copies or something. Yeah.
And that's the thing. You can't say they
In
sold
Euro
out.
sold almost that in a week, and I think
So, yeah.
Unplugged sold more than that in
Well,
its
that
first
un-
week.
Yeah, that unplugged.
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, to Hole, the flip side
Yeah.
of the selling out side of that coin, Hole started off in 90 or 91, I forget, with Pretty on the Inside, their
Yeah.
first album.
They have celebrity skin on it or something.
No.
Which one has Celebrity
no,
Skin?
Celebrity Skin. That's
Does the
way
other-
later.
That's like they're like
That's their sellout. That's the
Yeah.
beginning of their sellout phase. But Pretty on the Inside could be compared to Bleach. It's like their raw, grungy debut. And then they got a major label deal with Nirvana's record label, whether it was due to the strength of Pretty on the Inside or her relationship to Kurt Cobain is for neither here nor there. But anyway, then they do live through this, which could be compared to Nevermind. It was their breakthrough. It was good. It's their, it's the album you would show anyone who's maybe interested in Hole. You would show them that album first. But then in the next 4 years, they took a break and reconvened in 1998 with Celebrity Skin, which had like the single Celebrity Skin. It had Malibu, Awful. Yeah, those are the hits. And not nearly as good. Like
No.
it's kind of like they traded in like alternative rock for like power pop or something.
Let me ask you
Yeah.
this, scene
Like,
aside, do you like Live Through This?
Yeah,
Because I remember when you first showed me like Jennifer's Body, that's what really got
Yeah.
me into Hole to begin with, because it was more than
Live
just...
Through This.
Because I
has
remember
good shit
hearing
on it.
Celebrity Skin and not knowing who the fuck this was. And obviously,
Yeah.
as I got a little older and I realized the whole Kurt Cobain, Courtney Love, finding out about Hole, and then hearing like Jennifer's Body and even Doll Parts and things like that. I mean, there's some good songs on Live Through This, and
Well, that was when she was hanging out with Kurt Cobain all day, every day. And when she made Celebrity Skin, she was hanging out with fucking Billy Corgan all day. And then when she made Nobody's Daughter in 2012 or whatever, which is even worse, she was hanging out with probably just herself all day.
yeah,
So,
like a bundle full of dope.
yeah. But, yeah, it's like, it's sad because Live Through This, even if she maybe didn't write the music, which she probably did, but there is like some controversy amongst that with Nirvana fans, Hole fans, yada yada. But Live Through This has good vocal performance, good songs. Like it's rare you hear a girl like belting out like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's sad because if they could have kept along that path, like she could have been like kind of like counter to like PJ Harvey, like more of like a badass. But she didn't. She tried to do the whole pop route thing. She tried to. I don't know. She had the solo album in like 2001 or 2, which was like really terrible.
Well, I feel like the
America's
problem with
Sweetheart.
it too is how she put herself out there like beforehand, and now it's like, oh, I'm a totally different person now. You know?
Well, yeah, she tried to. And she like in doing that, she made the mistake of like associating her good music with her bad self,
yeah,
and then like her bad music with her good self, and it's like, oh, you're fucked.
yeah, exactly. Selling out.
All right, Bill, what do you got for selling out versus not selling out?
All right, I'm going to do my sellout band first. I feel like probably one of the biggest examples of all time of a sellout band is Maroon 5.
Are you joking?
No, I'm dead serious. You think of Maroon 5, like you listen to like
Backstreet Boys?
Songs about Jane,
songs about Jane.
This Love,
NSYNC?
and Harder to Breathe.
Yeah, like you listen to
Oh,
those
yeah.
songs, right? And like you could tell that there was a band there, and there was a band that wrote music
Yeah,
together.
okay, I get where you're
And-
going now.
Like,
And now it's just pop driven.
yeah, now, like, can you name any of the other members in Maroon 5 besides Adam Levine?
Negative.
No, of course not.
Exactly. But could you name
Can
every
you name any members of Paul McCartney or Wings besides Paul McCartney?
Well, no, but that's a different story. Paul McCartney.
I mean,
was-
most people could name Linda McCartney, but
Well, Paul McCartney was the figurehead of that band.
Oh, so you're
So is
talking
Adam
about
Levine.
prior to like Adam Levine's like breaking out. You're talking about like Maroon 5 was just known as Maroon 5.
Exactly.
Adam Levine didn't separate himself. And
Exactly.
And it's weird too because if you think about Maroon 5, usually when you have like a breakout artist like that, they're still affiliated with a band. Like, you know, Freddie Mercury, a huge star, but you still went and saw Queen. You know, you think about even like Judas Priest, like people aren't going to see Rob Halford. You thought about like Black Sabbath, people weren't going to see Ozzy Osbourne. People who go to see Maroon 5
Go to see
now
Adam
go
Levine.
to see Adam Levine.
But even in the musical way, like if you listen to any of the songs from Songs About Jane,
Yeah.
you know, like Harder to Breathe, like I think Harder to Breathe is a pretty good song. Like it's a pretty catchy song. The instrumentals are really good.
yeah,
Like the band themselves, dude, is a good band. And I feel like on the next album, which had like Wake Up Call on it, like you could tell there was starting to exactly there was starting to be a change in the band where like the rest of them were taking like a back seat. And after that, you know, then you had like Moves Like Jagger and Sugar.
Animals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you literally cannot find a similarity between, you know, like Animals or Sugar versus that first album.
Yeah,
I
they
think
completely became a pop entity.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I feel like that might be one of the biggest examples of selling out like of all time.
Yeah, but at the same time, their whole goal the whole time was to sell. And you can't really sell out if you're always sold in.
That's true too. Yeah, but you also think about it. Like I remember when I first heard Maroon 5, it was on like B101, like back before it was, you know, like a I don't know, like the greatest hits station or whatever it was, where it was like an alternative, like adult listening station.
Not Y100. That's not what you're thinking of.
No, not Y100. It wasn't like mainstream rock, but it was like adult contemporary, whatever. And that's where I first heard them. And then it was like very soon after that, the next places you started to hear them was like Wired 96.5, Q102.
That was also the time where label figureheads completely gave up on rock music.
That's
mid
true.
2000s. Like, I just read this article on like Alternative Nation or whatever online. I had a totally exaggerated headline, but it was saying like, what is this Audio Slave member super mad and pissed about or whatever? And it was just like, they were talking about the first Audio Slave album. He was like, it should have sold 10 million copies, man, not 3. Like, if it came out 5 years earlier, it would have sold 10 million copies.
Oh my God, easily.
And Tom Morello was like, yeah, and if it came out a year later, it would have sold 0 copies. So, I mean, just got to be happy with we caught the end of it, and sad for those who didn't.
For the artist that I'm going to choose that evolved with the times was Eminem.
All right.
Okay.
Like, you
Maybe
watch...
with a brief gap.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like,
Well,
downslope he had.
Which
Relapse.
downslope? Yeah, but in that sense, too, he was still the same Eminem.
Yeah, but he hadn't evolved. He kind of tried to regress back to like a Slim Shady type persona.
Almost, like weird and not as, controversial with his lyric content as opposed. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you like Kamikaze?
I really enjoyed Kamikaze.
What do you feel about the album cover, though?
What, the License to Ill ripoff?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
I
thought it was a nice nod, considering the fact that the Beastie Boys were a major influence of Eminem.
I just don't like that it wasn't immediately put out there for people that didn't know it, because the first thing people were trying to rip on Eminem about was like, yo, he stole that from the Beastie Boys. What do you feel about the huge slump? Like, 2002, the Eminem show comes out.
Yeah.
Right? Then after that, you got Encore in 04. You got Relapse in 09, you got Recovery 2010, 2013, the Marshall Mathers LP 2, which people were dying for just because of the title, and it was like supposed to be the comeback album. But then it wasn't until like Revival, Eminem started coming back.
But I heard Revival. I didn't even listen to it.
I wasn't a giant fan of Revival.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
this is the thing. All right.
I mean, that song River, dude, was with Ed Sheeran. Everybody was like, but that's like you have to understand. Eminem's not writing Marshall Mathers LP quality music, Slim Shady LP quality music. Like the song River featuring Ed Sheeran. Then he's got Walk on Water. And who did that feature?
Yeah, Beyonce.
Exactly. It's just...
Well, the thing is, you think about the progression from Eminem's show on.
Yeah.
His raps weren't or his music so much wasn't in your face anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't like crazy in your face, and you could see that he was slowly starting to taper off of that to the point where it was just like flatlined.
Artist in history to have 8 entries in a row debut at the top of the Billboard chart.
Yeah.
And there was a reason for it.
Never going to discredit that. I love Eminem. I absolutely love the Marshall Mathers LP.
I feel like the only slump that you could possibly say is Revival.
No way.
What other slump would you consider?
Dude, after Eminem show.
What, Encore?
Yeah.
Encore was a slump, and Relapse.
I can't stand
He wasn't at the top of his game.
Yeah, but you all see he didn't sell out.
Dude.
Well, with Recovery, he kind of sold out. He started bringing in like pop singers for choruses all the time. And
yeah, but he even had that on the Eminem show. Like Superman, Drug Ballad.
He was bringing in rappers that were part of his, like, you got to figure like D12.
He wasn't bringing in Rihanna
right
and Britney Spears or whoever the hell. Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. It also goes into like the record label and everything too. Like, they wanted a single to put out, and let's put Rihanna on this song.
Yeah, but that's the fucked up part. You know what I mean? That's like when you start wondering. I mean, again, with the idea of artists making music for the people, for themselves, for the art itself, or they're making music for the money, and to stay relevant. Sometimes that's what you see. You see artists that were in the spotlight that are losing it, that'll come back and put artists on their tracks that are conveniently like in the spotlight to kind of gain more credibility. Like, listen to my song, Ed Sheeran's on it. And at that point, when Revival comes out, Ed Sheeran was doing excellent. You know what I mean? He had a couple songs that were out there that were absolutely like people were loving it. Yeah. And that appealed to a different like whole culture of people that now you get to see Eminem and Ed Sheeran teaming up on a song, you're gonna be like, I'm fucking listening to it. Like, I heard Walk on Water. fucking hate that song.
Yeah, but I feel like if you were able to say that Eminem sold out, would be every song he had would have a singer like that.
It is cool though. On Kamikaze, he went back a little bit to his old style where he didn't have Beyonce and
that's what I'm talking
Rihanna.
about.
He had like Jessie Reyez on 2 tracks. Yeah, she's like lesser known.
So that's what I could say. Like when we're talking the idea of like you want to say evolve, I could agree with that with the idea of the way Kamikaze came out. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with Metallica going to Death Magnetic after Saint Anger. You know, and then it's also, too, you have to understand that slump period, dude, I'm going to say started with Encore. And then he was kind of like in this rocky road. Like, releasing something okay, decent, bad, horrible shit. It was just all over. And then Kamikaze comes out, and it's just like you can feel
but I even feel like
making.
Relapse and Recovery were pretty good albums, too.
I mean, Marshall Mathers LP was I wasn't a huge fan, but it was a step up. And then, like I said, Kamikaze.
Well, actually, have you ever listened to Relapse, like the whole thing?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was just this rocky
it's not
road.
as good as.
Oh, no, it's definitely not. But it's definitely it's like a throwback.
Encore. Like it was a continuing.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Maybe I'm just the minority with this, dude. But I really like.
Do you
Relapse.
like Encore?
There's select songs off of Encore.
But do you like the
But
album?
isn't it just select songs off of Relapse too, or do you like to listen to all Relapse like you do Eminem Show and Marshall Mathers?
Because you have to understand, it goes beyond right.
I listen to
Shady
more.
LP.
I listen to more songs on Relapse than I skip. Like 3 a.m., My Mom, Bagpipes from Baghdad, We Made You, Stay Wide Awake. It Must Be
We
the
Made
Ganja. Yeah, We Made You's funny. I'd like to listen to it. I think it's a throwback to like songs like Real Slim Shady or My Name
Yeah,
Is.
but it's not nearly as good, and you could just listen to those songs.
All right, so what's the final verdict? Sellout or evolution?
Connor.
Do you feel like he evolved, or did you feel like he sold out?
I feel like his evolution has definitely been influenced by monetary forces, the label, whatever you want to call it.
To stay relevant, you think?
Yeah, to stay relevant. And,
But you don't feel like
and
he
if he was just
100%
a
sold
dude
out.
who, say, he had like a normal job, was getting by, had time to record music on it for himself or whatever, like I don't think the music he would be making or aspiring to make would sound anything close to what he's making now.
So you wouldn't say 100% sellout?
I would say he's leaning more towards sold out than didn't sell out, but he's not the worst. He's not like
It's almost like you couldn't
he's
even.
not the worst. Like he's had flashes of countering that. You know what I mean?
It's like
I
when we say de-evolve, it's almost he put himself out there and the type of music he was putting out and everything that you were listening to. You had an idea of Eminem, and then, like I said, after Encore, well, to start with Encore, then that whole path leading up to Kamikaze, and like when I listened to Kamikaze, I did get that feeling of evolution from him as an artist, because here he is releasing more music, and there were some songs that are relevant to older Eminem.
Yeah.
What I was
100%.
accustomed to in the 90s. And Kamikaze kind of gave me that feeling again. And it was just almost like that nostalgia kicked in, and I was really able to enjoy it. And it, compared to what happened between Encore and Revival, it was a definite evolution in a sense. Because again, when I say slump, and I keep saying this, it's like a rocky road. Like all those albums had some good songs on them, but he just couldn't find that absolute concrete, like this is my thing now. This is where I'm going back to. And he obviously can't keep releasing music like he did off the Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP. Even with Eminem Show, I mean, there was a lot of stuff related to politics, obviously during the Bush administration. That's what he was kind of like using as his controversial lyrical content for most of his songs. But again, I agree with the evolution aspect, but towards Kamikaze. I just won't agree that obviously, like I said, Revival had some artists on there that had to appeal to current fans of, artists that were relevant at that point in time, Ed Sheeran, Beyonce, etc.
So do you think 100% sellout or no?
No, I can't say 100% sellout, because Eminem has always been, kind of just in the media for, controversial bullshit about his personal life, but he's never been out there as being like a total, bandwagon fan for any artist and trying to support something and be on albums and try to kind of put himself out there as a feature artist, and never was like looking at it for the money aspect. But again, Kamikaze, I felt like it was more of an effort not just to make money, but for him to like kind of stay in the music scene, because I like Eminem in the music scene.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? And I think that was good for him. And I'll never say that he just never sold out. I can't agree with that. I will never say he totally sold out. But yeah, I will say after Encore, it was definitely a hazy period for Mr. Mathers.
All right. Well, what do you got now?
So this is obviously a genre this is obviously a genre Connor's not too familiar with. I'm a huge death metal fan. So the band that I'm going to say that actually absolutely evolved, stayed true to their content. The band's Monstrosity. They're a Tampa, death metal band. They came up in that Florida scene with a lot of other artists and the artists. Yeah, that's probably the only thing you're going to be able
That's
to
the
relate.
band.
Probably went to fucking middle school with
dude.
these motherfuckers.
Probably did, bro.
That's
So-
the band that George Corpse Grinder Fisher from Cannibal
Yeah, he
Corpse
was
came
actually
from.
like one of the. Yeah, he was the first vocalist in '92 when they released Imperial Doom. Again, part of that Tampa scene, you had bands like Morbid Angel coming out. You had bands like Death. You had the Absence.
Morbid Angel from
Obituary.
Florida?
Huh?
We're Morbid Angel from Florida?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
These are all Florida bands. Obituary, Morbid Angel, Death.
My sister's ex's brother
That's okay.
knew a dude from Morbid Angel.
Pete
and he
Sandoval,
lived
the
in
drummer.
Florida,
David
so that
Vincent.
makes sense.
Which one? Huh.
I don't fucking remember.
Figure
They
that out.
didn't know each other in person. They met on some fucking game online,
That's funny.
and he
World of
didn't
Warcraft.
believe the brother
Definitely, probably.
didn't believe that this dude was really a Morbid Angel. And he was like, all right, if you're a Morbid, he's like, all right, so you'll believe me on our next album. I'll thank you on your gamer tag or whatever.
Oh,
on the
wow.
album. And he said he did it.
That's pretty
Ain't
cool.
that some shit? That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the evolution aspect, the reason why I'm bringing this up, again, being like a fan of the genre, Monstrosity released an album last year. It's called The Passage of Existence. And they were really big with Corpse Grinder for the first two albums. He left after the second album, which is Millennium. Millennium comes out in 96, right? And it really, the way I found it is because I started listening to a lot of technical death metal that came out in the mid-90s. Like Death was releasing Human.
Yep.
Cynic had the album Focus. There's a lot of really good tech death that was going on out there. And when Millennium was released, that is hailed as one of the most influential technical death metal albums. The musicianship, the instrumentals are just so intricate. The structure of the writing, the vocal content from Corpse Grinder, everything is just solid. And then, they continue to progress. And then Passage of Existence comes out, and it's, dude, that album, I will honestly say, compared to there were some other albums released by Behemoth, Deicide released an album last year, Skeleton Witch. There's a lot of good metal albums that were released in 2018, but The Passage of Existence by Monstrosity is my all-time favorite, front to back. The musicianship is so excellent. The way they stay, that album, if that had came out in 96 itself, it would be an absolute staple in that genre. And it's a shame because the death metal scene doesn't get a lot of notoriety except from the underground fans. But dude, that album itself is just so good, man. It's very, very good. So I'm gonna leave that there.
Are you a fan?
I can't say I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I know select songs. I know a little
Yeah.
bit about the band, but I'm not
See, that's the one thing I'm
huge
going to bring to
Monstrosity
this is
fan.
because I absolutely love a lot of underground metal. I love a lot of death metal. I love a lot of thrash. But here we go. This is the sellout artist.
Okay.
Because this one, both of you can kind of get down with.
Okay.
And I'm putting it out there. Megadeth is my sellout artist.
I agree.
Okay.
'Cause here's the thing with Megadeth, right? So Megadeth obviously is following in the trend of Metallica writing these good albums. Peace Sells, absolutely love it. Rust in Peace, absolutely love it. Countdown to Extinction is their Black Album, not a fucking fan. And then they keep going on, and Dystopia comes out, which is their recent, new album of new songs, right?
Yeah. I believe that was the last album to feature Chris Broderick on guitar.
And I didn't like it. And I feel like Megadeth is just now constantly writing music. Dave Mustaine obviously has an ego. Don't get me wrong. The guy backs it up with great, great guitar work. I'll never not say that. But again, here's the thing that really bothers me with older musicians that are trying to stay relevant and then the money aspect. Megadeth had just recently released March 22nd, 2019. It's considered what they say an anthology album, which essentially is a compilation of remasters and older songs.
How many songs?
35 songs, dude. Literally 35 songs. And it bothers me because, again, it's all tracks from Killing Is My Business leading up to Dystopia. And Dave Mustaine is coming out to say, 35 years ago, I chose the name Megadeth for my band, and I see these songs as the most efficient weapons in the band's arsenal. It's just so goddamn annoying, dude, because I appreciate when bands get older, but then they go out and make their money through touring.
Yes.
Until they just can't anymore. For instance, Slayer. Seen
This
Slayer
is-
last year, seen Slayer this year. I get that they released a couple albums. Obviously, I had new guitarists after Jeff Hanneman died. World Painted Red, and then obviously Repentless. I like Repentless, not a huge fan. World Painted Blood. But I would like to see artists just come to the point where you stop making music and you just go out there and tour and really keep yourself for the fan base that, like, of the people that love you. The people that really listen to you. Because then you start releasing more and more songs and you're just like getting like, what the fuck? And then you do shit like this where you release this anthology. Let's just call it a compilation, dude. It's 35 tracks of all music. There's no goddamn originals on it. And people are going to fucking buy it.
Well, it's a compilation. It's the first compilation by Megadeth to not denote
Listen,
a Wikipedia
it's fucking
page.
2019. If I want to make a compilation, I could download 35 songs of Megadeth's work and just make a fucking mixtape on my goddamn phone.
I feel like this could end the Megadeth versus Metallica debate.
How so?
Metallica hasn't released an anthology.
This is true. Yeah. All right, well, keep it relevant to Megadeth. So, what I'm saying is, with Megadeth coming out, and I agree with you, like, Metallica never released that compilation, that anthology, setup. I mean, S&M was cool, because S&M was essentially a compilation, but it was a live recorded show.
Yeah, it was a project.
It was so
different.
And that's cool, but you get to hear all these songs, and you get to hear them in a different way. Yep. Why the fuck would I buy a 35 song? I keep saying it. Why would I buy a 35 song album of all songs that remastered? From, like, I get it. It's a chronological history. It's an anthology leading up all the way to
it's
Dystopia.
a greatest hits.
But, dude, it's so annoying.
What's the problem?
I feel like they should just call it a
the way
greatest
they
hits.
hype it up, dude. You have to understand. I'm on fucking, Apple Music and all these things, getting these, like, notifications about Megadeth releasing, a new album, and that's all you get generically. And it's a fucking anthology, dude. What the fuck?
It happens all the time.
That's where the sellout aspect comes in, dude. You're this goddamn thrash band who literally made a band out of spite, and you're gonna say, these songs are the most effective weapons in my arsenal. Like, dude, shut up. Shut up. Like, I go out there and tour. If you want to write originals, I'm cool with it. Keep dropping music. I'm not a fan of newer stuff, usually by certain artists that were very good in the 80s. But I would rather see you go out there and tour and focus more on the, show you're going to provide to the people. Like, Slayer puts on a good show. Megadeth, not so good when they're live.
All right, Connor. Sellout or not a sellout? Megadeth.
Probably sellout. I don't really know enough about Megadeth, but I mean,
just based on
it seems like they're not as true to themselves as Anthrax or Slayer, and Megadeth and Metallica are kind of more in the sellout camp.
Yep.
I think I'm going to have to agree with that one. As much as I would love to stick up for Dave Mustaine. All right, so anyways, guys, we recommended to watch the Foo Fighters Back and Forth last week. Me and Connor had already seen this movie years ago when it came out, and we rewatched it recently. Steve had just watched it this previous week. For those of you out there that haven't seen the movie, Back and Forth is a documentary about the Foo Fighters, starting from probably in the middle of Nirvana's popularity, all the way until the recording and release of their 2011 album, Wasting Light. What I like about this movie is that it puts it into perspective that these are, like, real people. You know what I mean? Like, you see the emotions. You see, like William Goldsmith when he's recollecting that Dave Grohl re-recorded all of his drum parts. Yeah. Like, you see that there's real people behind this music, and it's not just, some commercial, machine.
90s Pete Best.
I would think it was an outstanding documentary. Like, I just thought, like, they got details very right. There was a ton of footage, like you said.
Wait, you said you thought it was an outstanding documentary? I
thought it was,
I thought you said it was. Okay.
No. No, I just thought it was extremely well done. They didn't leave anything out that I thought of. I mean, like, they even showed Dave when he was in Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
I just thought it was extremely well written and very well put together.
Yeah, like I said, again, it's one of those things where you see certain bands and you just have an image. I mean, again, it doesn't really change my view on the songs, that I don't like by, Foo Fighters, but it does give me a better understanding of, and you say, like, the human aspect of it. Like, that's the thing a lot of people forget. I mean, a lot of these artists, I mean, you hear an album and it may be 40 minutes long and you listen to it front to back and it's, like, over for you, but you don't realize the amount of effort and arguments and tension and passion that goes into some of these fucking albums and what these people go through in order to do this. And then also, too, with record labels, and you worry about the producer, and you're making sure that it's getting mixed properly, and then you're playing certain parts, and everything's got to fit. And then also, you know, the relationships amongst band members. Because you get some band members, and most of bands aren't like fucking childhood friends that grew up since they were fucking 5 years old.
Exactly.
You know, eventually, when you evolve in a musicianship sense, you start putting people in your band because of their talent.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't fucking work out. And then, you know, it's just, it's crazy how that works sometimes. But again, you get to really see that like human aspect of like some of the things that they went through. And yeah, it does make you appreciate the music better. It makes you, because I try to look at a different light. When you see some of the music and you hear some things, you don't realize how many hours and how much effort goes into it.
I feel like for what it is, the movie, I would easily give it 8.5, 9 stars out of 10.
Yeah, I was thinking 8 stars, 9 stars.
Yeah. I feel like that's extremely fair.
7.5.
Why 7.5?
Because again, it's just one of those things where I can't put it so high up because
it was a Foo Fighters sanctioned.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
You're
You're
getting the surface of the complex.
Put
but
it this way,
it's all
dude,
the Dave
and it
Grohl
sucks
sanctioned
because
version
you're
of
going to get
history.
personalities from the three of us. Like I said, Foo Fighters, I like them, don't love them. Now, here's the thing. Had it been a documentary in this sense about, let's say, The Doors or, like, Death, you know, like bands that I'm already super accustomed to and, like, so excited to see, like, the inner workings of them, then it would be a different story. And that's where the biased opinion comes in. Don't get me wrong. Like, I fuck with the Foo Fighters. But again, I give it a 7.5 because it was excellent, but I lost that personal touch, you know? It's almost like when you listen to something that you absolutely love and somebody else hates and you just don't fucking get it. You know? Like, so when anybody else like could say this is like a brilliant, great, well done, you know, film, excellent documentary, but the band itself, I didn't have that real connection to enjoy it in a different way. But yeah, I mean, 7.5, dude, if I give something anything higher than a 5, consider it, like, worthy. That's how I view my opinion on shit like that.
Okay. I mean, I think we're all kind of in the ballpark. I mean, 7.5 to 9. What's the average there? 8?
Well, it got 96 for the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. There's no real reviews of it.
Like solid critic reviews. It doesn't even have like certified fresh or rotten. Or
until now.
Before we jump into the suggestions of this week, by any chance did you catch the post-credit scene?
What?
Back and forth. There's a little post-credit scene at the end of the movie.
I didn't fucking catch that.
Yeah, at the end of the credits, Dave Grohl comes back on, like, you know, during the interview thing. Yeah. He's like, if I would have knew this band would have been so fucking big, I wouldn't have chose such a stupid fucking name.
Yeah, that's perfect, dude. That's good. That's good.
All right, so we're gonna roll into our personal suggestions of this week. So, what do you got for us, Steve?
So, my suggestion of the week, I mentioned this band a couple weeks ago, Monomarth. I'm going to keep bringing this up because they are releasing the new album May 3rd. It's called Berserker. They just released a second music video as well as a second single from the album. The first song was called Raven's Flight, and then there's a continuation music video. The new song that just was released, it's called Crack the Sky. Again, I keep mentioning this because I do like Monomarth. I like their older stuff, and they are releasing a new album, so I try to like listen to older metal bands that are trying to stay in the scene, especially when I'm going to see them live, because that's another thing. I hate seeing a band live where they just came out with new music and I don't fucking know the songs.
Yeah,
I like listening to them because sometimes you feel it, and then you want to go back and like, what song was that? You know, and but I want to get into this, and like I said, the album comes out May 3rd. I'm not a huge fan of the 2 songs that drop. I think they're going more to like a metalcore, you know, just poppier sound of metal, like more
leaving their Viking roots behind.
The vocals, the lyrical content still all, you know, Asgard and fucking, you know, Thor.
Oh, well, that's cool.
You know, they still keep that style, but like I said, the instrumental aspect of it, it's very just mainstream in their sense. But I mean, it's enjoyable. I'm not a huge fan, but again, the album is called Berserker. The new song that just was released is called Crack the Sky. The album comes out May 3rd.
Nice. What do you got for us, Connor?
Okay, I'm taking the Guest's second album, Popular Music, from February 2018. They're a local Philly band. They came out with the Red Scare 16 EP in 16, then the Red Scare LP in 17, and then the Popular Music LP in 2018. They're a great band. I've seen them live a couple times. The key tracks I'll take if you want to check them out real quick are Flotsam and Jetsam, Serpentine, and Watching the War.
Nice.
Okay.
What do you got, Bill?
This week I have a couple suggestions. The first one is a local New Jersey band called Prevailer. They just released a music video called Inversion. We actually all of us have a mutual friend in this band. He's the bass player.
Yeah, Corbin.
Wanted me to give out a shout out for these guys in Prevailer. So yeah, song's called Inversion. Check it out on YouTube. Music video looks really cool.
Yeah, you just showed it to me a little while ago. Yeah, it's actually really well done. I'm impressed. Especially Corbin, knowing him in high school, it's cool seeing, people and grew up with, like, really doing some shit that's actually quality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The next thing that I have is my personal suggestion, and it is the 2018 album from Ben Rector called Magic. Ben Rector is singer-songwriter. My wife actually got me into him. We danced to our first dance at our wedding was one of his songs. I never thought I'd listen to singer-songwriters. It's not really my bag. But this album is actually really good. It almost has like an 80s pop type feel where it's almost like you could exchange this dude out for like Phil Collins and like it would make sense. Like, I really like Phil Collins. I love the 80s. I think I love everything about the 80s. And this album kind of hits home. And yeah, that's it. Ben Rector's Magic.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we got the group suggestion for next week, Pearl Jam 20.
For those of you who don't know, PJ 20, Pearl Jam 20, is another rockumentary about, you guessed it, Pearl Jam.
It's on the 20. It was also from 2011, like back and forth.
Yep.
It was a first 20 years of Pearl Jam's career from 10 to 20.
Well, it actually shows in the beginning too with like Mother Love Bone, and it ties in with Soundgarden.
Yeah.
All the way up until
Temple of the Dog.
Yeah, Temple of the Dog. All the way until the release of Lightning Bolt, I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned
Mother
Love Bone.
I think it was like Backspacer.
Backspacer, okay.
It was like after Backspacer was
like
out,
Backspacer?
but there's a couple good songs on it. That's their last one, I would say. I don't know. I didn't get Lightning Bolt because I didn't like the singles off it.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it here. Megadeth are sellouts.
Eminem is not 100%.
Whole sellout,
100%.
Foo Fighters back and forth for season 80-ish%
Yes.
on our score-o-meter.
Yeah.
This is Rage Against the Mainstream signing off for the night. I'm Bill.
Connor.
Steve.
Thank you for your continued support. Check in next Monday for a new episode. Have a good night, guys.